just felt like, I don't know, I'll have these moments, and I don't know if it's mania or what, but I'll feel kind of gluttonous in different ways where I want to eat everything, I want to drink everything, I want to go everywhere, I want to do everything. Like I'm just very, I have a lot of zest, and I want to do a lot of things, and I have a lot of energy. And I mean, I had energy today. I went to the gym and had a good workout. But all day, something just kind of felt off mentally. I couldn't really explain it, but it was like like I was in the gym and the workout was good, but it's just because I pushed myself and I made it good. But when I got home, I didn't really have a craving for anything, and I had planned to go get coffee and then go on a little hike somewhere, but I didn't want to go get coffee. I wanted to just make coffee and stay home and do nothing. And in retrospect, I probably should have done that because it's what I wanted to do. And lately I've been telling myself that, you need to make yourself do things, blah, blah, blah. But I think my body's just telling me, like, no, you're going to do what you want to do. Stop making yourself do things for whatever sake. So I ended up going to the city anyway and getting a coffee and then going to a park, a part of the park we'd never been to, where there's a dam, and it's very pretty. It's scenic and really neat. And there's a trail at the bottom of the dam. It's pretty far down because it's the bottom of a dam, and it looks directly at the dam, like it's maybe 100 feet away from the dam, in the wall and everything. The water's rushing over. It's really pretty. So we took that. We walked down a very steep hill, and with my anxiety, it's almost like, just like it was one thought that triggered this whole storm that I've been in for the last couple of months. It's just one thought that'll trigger my anxiety, and then basically a countdown begins. I joked with somebody today. I told them that I'm gonna start a countdown timer when I have these intrusive thoughts that I know are gonna trigger a panic attack later. Because my thought was, as we walked almost to the very bottom of this very steep hill, I looked back up and I said, man, that's really gonna be hard to get back up later. And I kept thinking about my heart. Instantly, I was like, oh man, my heart's gonna pound and it's gonna make me feel like I'm gonna pass out and blah, 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 blah. I've hiked up many, many steep hills, and I have fine cardio. It's not the best, but I have it, and I can walk up hills, and it's no big deal. But as soon as I thought that, it's like the thought was there, and it wasn't right away that I started having issues. We kind of meandered around the bottom of the hill and looked at the dam for about 20-ish minutes, and then decided to take the trail, which is only a mile and a half. It's not long at all. It takes like 25 minutes to get from where we were to the end of this trail that leads to a road, and then it's just one way in, one way back. So, and I know where I am, like geographically. I used to go horseback riding on the opposite side of the stream, and I hadn't been there in a while because the horse farm is closed now, but there's a shooting range up around the corner, and I'm familiar with where I am, but it's also very desolate. We're the only ones on the trail, and we were the only ones in the parking lot, so there's nobody around. And we start walking, and I feel fine, and then, mentally I'm feeling fine as well. Like, it's a beautiful day. It's February, and it's like 60 degrees. It's sunny, there's a breeze. I've got my sleeves rolled up, and it feels really good. I'm enjoying this day, and is sounding all of the alarm bells. My heart's beating. It starts beating really fast. I can feel it. I can feel my pulse. It's just boom, 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 like that fast. I mean, it had to be around 200 beats per minute. It was so fast. And I start getting dizzy and lightheaded, and I start getting shaky, and my throat closes up, and my lungs start to seize up, and I can't get a good breath. And again, because this has happened so often the last couple of months, I'm still on the outside. I'm calm. Like, if you looked at me, you'd probably have no idea that I was having an intense panic attack. So it continues, and it goes on for maybe 5 minutes, because it's almost like the closer we got to the road, because I could hear and see the road at this point, and I could hear the gun range, and it was like I started to go almost like I was in a trance and floating, but in the, outside, and in my mind even, that's the thing, like, in my mind, I was relaxed and fine, and I was like, talking out loud to Dennis, like, oh, this is where Daddy used to go horseback riding, and yada yada, and just knowing where we were geographically, like, it was genuinely cool. I was enthralled with being where we were, because we've been to other sides of that park on the opposite side of the road before. So once we got to the road, the panic kind of subsided, my heartbeat came back down, and I was okay. And then we started back toward the dam again, and it's just like something just felt off the whole time. And eventually we, started up the hill, and it was fine. Like, we made it up the hill without any problems. I marched up there, and even Dennis was huffing and puffing behind me, so I didn't feel so bad about being out of breath. But I don't know. I had a thought the other day that maybe part of it is, I've spent the last 3.5 years really fully being out in nature and hiking, and just, being on my own like that, out in the wilderness or whatever. And I think it's very possible, because I am the kind of person who needs new experiences and change, and I don't like to get stagnant. Before Dennis came along, I had only spent about a year and a half. Actually, no. I only spent like a little more than 6 months, I guess, like hiking intensively on my own. I've been hiking for the last almost 10 years, but the first like 6 years. No, that's not right. Either way, the first couple years of hiking was spent mostly in one small park. And then when I did hike other places, a lot of times it was with other people, or in small groups, or with a friend. So, before Dennis came along, I'd only really hiked by myself for about 8 months or so. But I've been doing it ever since. So 5 years with him. That's where the year and a half came from. And before I moved to New York, it was only about a year and a half of really intensively hiking with me, just me and Dennis. But I've been doing that for 3.5 years now, so more than twice as long. And I think, a lot of times I'll push myself to go hiking, or I'll feel obligated to go hiking, because it's who I am. I'm the nature guy, I'm the rugged, go hiking guy, disappear into the woods guy. It was a part of my personality and persona for so long. And I also feel obligated to take Dennis, because I know he enjoys it. But the thing is, Dennis just enjoys being with me, and he enjoys going to regular parks and going to the city. And I think that, I don't know, perhaps my soul is crying out for new experiences, and it's trying to tell me to listen to my instincts and to do something new. So hopefully when we move to Nashville, some of this crap subsides, because it's a real bummer to take so many steps forward and then take a giant leap back. And then, That's just how it goes. And that's why this video, I think, is as much for me as it is for you guys. So, if anything, it just goes to show I'm not just talking out of my ear here. I am speaking from real experience, and I'm right there in the trenches with you guys. Those of you who are having anxiety and pain, chronic pain and physical ailments and fibromyalgia and stress and money worries. It's all relative. So to switch gears and to get positive, let's talk about how it's gonna be okay. We're just gonna let all of that energy in our chest go. And we're gonna close our eyes. And we're gonna envision a future that's brighter and better. It doesn't have to be specific. It doesn't have to be anything in particular. You don't have to see yourself with a particular kind of car, living in a particular kind of place. Just feel the weight leave your chest. Feel the stress leave your brain. And just relax. Don't focus too hard on your breathing. Just relax. Just feel the weight of the stress disappear. And know that in the near future this will be your constant reality. All the worries that you have, all the trepidation, all the physical pain, it's all temporary. Just like good things, bad things are temporary too. Nothing lasts forever, and while that may be a sad fact in some regards, the positive spin is that it means that the bad can only last for so long as well. And it's true that things do seem their worst right before they get really good. And I don't know about you guys, but I have these premonitions about my life. For better or worse, sometimes I've had very negative premonitions. Scary things, sad things, worrisome things, depressing things, frustrating things. But they are premonitions, and a lot of times it's kind of a vague thing, but sometimes it's really specific. And oftentimes these premonitions come true even in regards to other people around me. I'm not saying anything like crazy, like I'm psychic or whatever, but it is kind of strange how I'll have these premonitions and a lot of them will come true. But one I've had for a long time, I mean, as probably as far back as my late teens, was that my mid-30s, around 33, I'm 32 now, for some reason the number 33 just kept pinging me in the head. It's like I would see it in my mind's eye. 33. I don't know why. Now, full disclosure, when it comes to premonitions, I have seen myself dying in my early 40s, early to mid 40s. It's just like either a heart attack or something like that. Like it's something that's underlying and not really preventable, but that's what I've seen ever again since I was a teenager. But in addition, I've seen things get really good around my mid-30s, around 33 or so. And I want you guys to focus on that, channeling that premonition energy, for better or worse. I don't want you to resist the negative premonitions, but I don't want you to conjure them up either. You can take the old sage wisdom of positive affirmations and thinking it until it happens and wishing it until it happens and vision boards, but sometimes you just have to let the universe speak to you. And that's what I think it is. It's just the universe speaking the truth. universe is telling you, and sit with what you see. And give it some thought. But don't attach your ego to what you see. I've made that mistake many times, and it's taken me to my knees, just out of pain and hurt, because I saw something terrible, but something I knew was going to happen. I've seen very lonely times, but I've attached myself and my feelings and emotions at the time to those premonitions, and then it festers and it snowballs and it becomes negative energy. Just see it for what it is. Like my pounding heart today in the woods. Just see it for what it is. Observe it. Don't judge it. Don't fight it. But know that if things are not going your way now, if you're anxious, if you're depressed, if you're sick, if you're in pain, if you've got a job you can't stand, if you're looking for a job, if you don't have money for the things you want, if you're struggling, life is not all struggle. Life is hard, but it's not all struggle, and it's not all difficult, and it's not all uphill. And at some point, this roller coaster you seem to be on involuntarily has to come to a lull. So all you can do is throw your hands up and enjoy the ride, because it will end. And I've found, unfortunately, that when it seems like the ride is about to come to an end, despite all of your protest when you initially start the roller coaster, once you think it's coming to an end, you absolutely don't want it to end. I know that all too well. I have asked to be taken, to be done, and, months or years later, when I'm by myself in the woods and my heart starts pounding faster and faster and faster, all I can think is, oh man, I don't want to go. I'm not ready for it to be over, because I spent the entire time white knuckle gripping the bars of life, as opposed to just throwing my hands up and enjoying the ride. For every curve, every upside down twist and twirl, every jerk. I'm not saying you have to love negative things, that's just silly. But to constantly be so embroiled in negativity, resistance is just an exercise in futility. Life's gonna do what it's gonna do. You have to react. So focus on that. And remember that it's not all bad. The good times will come. And when they come, I'm gonna give you some contrary advice to what a lot of people say, which is to embrace the good and, really hold on to it. I say don't. Because then you get wrapped up in, oh man, this is gonna end. It's a good time. It's gonna end sometime. Don't get caught up in it, because that's the beauty of the good old days or better times that you reflect on later, is you don't realize at the time. It's not that you don't appreciate it. You can be appreciative for anything. You can be appreciative for every breath that you take, even if they're labored because you're in pain. You can be appreciative for having cognizance and a consciousness and a life, even if it's difficult, even if it's fraught with pain and difficulties. Same goes for happiness. You don't have to constantly bow down and, oh, I appreciate it so much, I'm so happy, I'm blah, da 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 da. Because then you start focusing and honing in on that positivity. And while yes, it can breed more positivity, wave and then you get knocked off, you're a lot more likely to have spent your time on that wave, focusing on how good it was, worrying when it was going to end, and then it gets taken away, and then you're plummeted back into the black sea. So don't do that. Just enjoy the ride, good, bad, and indifferent, because you could go to sleep tonight and not wake up tomorrow. We don't know. Considering the body systems and how it works and how everything has to go right at the same time in the body, considering all of that, the fact that we do wake up every day is incredible. It's a stunning mechanical achievement every single day. I just know that to have that knowledge of how everything works makes you appreciative of the fact that you're still alive and kicking every day. So, focus on those things. Let the universe speak to you and act accordingly. React accordingly, or don't react. Just observe. If you're in the midst of a fight, if you feel like an ocean is pouring down on you, are you going to try and stay rigid against the waves? You're gonna break. So roll with the tide. Don't fight it, or you'll tire yourself out and drown. And oftentimes people conflate fighting the tide with, the hustle or kicking life's ass or something like that. But they're two very different things. It's one thing to persevere, and it's another to resist the irresistible, something that can't be resisted. It's one thing to pick and choose your battles and fight valiantly through those battles, but it's a whole nother thing to make this futile effort against what the universe has in store for you. It's hard to explain, and sometimes it's hard to get your head wrapped around it, but trust me, they're two different things. And if you're struggling, if you're hurting and you're in pain, having the understanding and the confidence of knowing that it's not all bad, and it has to let you